Hey everybody, welcome to Huddle Time with Ronit. I'm sorry we're a little bit late. We tried that. Something was not working between the links, so we had to just redo our link and our broadcast. So happy Monday, everybody. It is 7 o'clock and I am in the East Coast. Yeah, so for a long time I've been in the West Coast, so it was really nice, I would do Huddle Time at I think it was 4 o'clock and then 5 o'clock and then 6 o'clock. And finally, we're here 7 and it is dark outside. It really is dark. It's unbelievable. But anyway, how's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Huddle Time with Ronit. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Huddle Time. Thank you for tuning in one more week at American's Beauty Show by Cosmetologists of Chicago. And every Monday, we bring on guests for a weekly discussions with thought leaders, um, experts, brands experts inside the industry, outside of the industry, any kind of business, life, wellness, beauty topics that will help our professional beauty industry to elevate. So careers, moving, shifting, you name it, we're here for you. We've been doing this for almost 2 years, and I'm proud to say that we have not missed one episode. So I am the host, Ronit Enos, which I am the prophet and business Jedi, and founder of Salon Cadence Academy. And what is Salon Cadence Academy? We are a white glove and training company that helps high achievers, right? Salon and spa owners that really value time, life, and have a growth mindset to create more time, more wealth within their company to achieve really their life, their ideal desires, and to have impact in the world. So we do it through purpose. Now, if anyone wants to learn more about that, just go to the Profitable Salon and Spa Owners. We have a special Facebook group where I give lots of gems and we bring a lot of people and we brings you a lot of tips so you can learn how to become that high achiever salon and spa owners. Now, of course, I want to say a few words before I bring my amazing guest here today. I want to thank our sponsors, ABS, who are the sponsors, American's Beauty Show. They are right now currently producing and planning our April show, and it's going to be amazing. So if any of you have not yet to buy the membership tickets, go to the website and buy your ticket. It's going to be something so different than what you've been used to. And of course, it's going to be even so much bigger and nicer and more fun than what we have done last I think it was last September, which I was there. I also want to say thank you for Textel, our second sponsor. Textel helps you engage with your customers through texting. I know some of you might have in their software some texting, but let me tell you, that texting operation is totally different. We do it in our own business, and we absolutely recommend it. It saves so much time and so much efficiency. It really produces amazing communication between you, your customer, or you and your employee. So you don't want to miss Textel. And of course, I just like to just do a quick intro to my really great friend today, Erin Moger, who has been my guide and my advisor for 5 years now from the Profit First Professional. I have been working with the Profit First Professional community, and we're going to talk a lot about that. And since 2015, Erin has been a Profit First Professional guide. Now, shortly after Profit First Professional launch with Mike Michalowicz in his basement, Erin has joined the company and elevated the company to what it is today with the team over there. Now, Erin has a unique story. She grew up as a child of an entrepreneur, just like all of us, and has experienced entrepreneurship in a really different way. Now, because of that, she decided to go to school for accounting, and because she saw how this world needed a whole different perspective, so she can help small business owners to succeed in their entrepreneurial journeys. So with all of that, I would love for you to welcome Erin into our show. Welcome, Erin. So happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah, so am I. Erin, you have been my guide for a very long time as a Profit First consultant, a profit first advisor, but you also came and spent a lot of time with our members at Salon Cadence Accelerator. We just did a great session a couple of weeks ago that everybody absolutely, their minds start working. And so it's been a really great journey to be part of a movement and part of change in this world. Because I think, isn't that true that there's about over 200,000 entrepreneurs around the globe that are practicing profit first,
Yeah, absolutely. There are. And
and
maybe even more.
maybe even more because they're like growing tremendously, especially this past, I think, 2 years since this whole world gone crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Erin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me. I'm excited about this.
Me too. I'm so happy to share with the world what we're doing. We embark in this journey of absolutely changing people's and transform their the profit, and not only profit in terms of financial, but also profit in terms of emotional. And we talked about it a little bit before, right? About how important it is to have some sort of balance in your life. And
Yeah.
so, how did you start? I know
Well,
you have a little story over there. I'd love to just dig into what made you say, I want to work in the basement with Mike.
yeah. Well, first and foremost, some good things do come from crazy Craigslist ads calling you to the basement for a startup. You never know what life's going to throw you. Take the risk. um, but honestly, there's really three things in life that keep you up at night, right? It's money, it's people, and it's health, right? And it's incredible how those things are also intertwined. And for me, as a kid, I will tell you, money means nothing, right? So, as somebody who works with money all day long, money is just an aspect of life, it's a tool, right? But there's so many other things that impact our ability to be who we're meant to be and where we're supposed to be. And so, growing up in this roller coaster as a kid where we had so much money, we went to Disney World and go karting every weekend, then we were eating peanut butter and jelly in the dark, right? Happiness never altered, right?
What do you mean you were eating peanut butter jellies in the
We
dark?
couldn't afford electricity, and if it wasn't bread or peanut butter, it was rice. So you just hit a point in life. And again, that's not the definition of happiness, right? There's so many other things that yield good, right? But money is a tool, it's a mechanism that yields peace in other areas of our life as well. And for our family, I wasn't directly impacted by the money, but relationships, my dad's health, all those other pieces that really did change how he approached life. And it hurt. It hurt to watch my dad stress. It hurt to watch my dad age. And I decided around the time that I took my first accounting class that it was going to be a path I thought about a little bit more because it gave me so much hope, right? One of the things I did when I got home, and this was way before I knew anything, right? I was like, Dad, do you have a bookkeeper? And he was like, Well, I use TurboTax. And I was like, okay, well, maybe we can start creating a little bit more understanding around what's going on with our money in hopes that we can then create a game plan for our future. There has to be a way out of this, right? This isn't what it's supposed to be, especially when you look on the internet and people are like, don't mind me, I'm just chilling on my yacht. Like, that's the picture of entrepreneurship that is personified, right? And that
Yeah.
was not the picture of entrepreneurship that we felt all the time.
Yeah.
So for me, going through that journey, watching my dad's experience with his business, being incredibly skilled at his craft, like elite in his field, and
Yeah.
not being able to manage the money and struggling even with that elite understanding in such a technical space, it was hard. It was really hard. And so, yeah, no, I decided I was going to go first to school for accounting,
To
all
save,
with the heart.
to save the family.
Yeah,
To
all with
figure
the
it
heart
out. To figure it
of
out. Yeah.
entrepreneurs. Yeah, because if and that's where it hit, right?
Yeah.
This can't just be my dad, right? There's no way that this is just my dad, right? And then you go to school and you start hearing how people engage with money. I mean, around that time was when social media really hit, and you start seeing how people spend their money, and you're like, no, definitely can't just be my dad. So I was really grateful that right out of school, Profit First was a vessel there waiting. So when I decided to take the plunge and go to that Craigslist ad, look and see somebody's basement, I went. I went because it was a landing page, Mike Michalowicz full body shot, and he's just there, sales minus profit equals expenses. And I was like, well, dang it. That makes sense, you know? And I was just, there has to be so much more to this. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I took the plunge, but it really is, there's so much to life that makes it rich. And when we can have peace in this area of money, it allows for us to have peace in a lot of the other spaces of our life.
Yeah. And that story is many entrepreneur story. In fact, it was my story as well. In fact, most of our members, I would say, as you know, the statistic are that what is it? Is 75% of small businesses just don't make it by the fifth year. Just
No,
don't
it's
make.
very true. And
Yep.
even still, the businesses that make it, 85, they're living check to check.
Living check to check, and only literally we're talking about 5% of the other 15% that is left is really thriving. It really is thriving, and it's sad. It's insane, and it's sad. Not to mention, you think about it, just pre crazy times, the community, America's population, 50% of it are small businesses.
Yeah.
And I would even argue that now it's probably elevated to 60 or 70% that are, with all the new entrepreneurs are coming in. And so we have to change that. We have to change how we drive our business to success. Because at the end of the day, if our company or our life mission is not producing cash, then it's unsustainable. It's just nothing is sustainable.
Yeah. And nobody goes into business to be broke, right?
No,
Nobody.
nobody.
Nobody goes into business to have no time and have no money. That's not what it's for. So,
No, but I know, and I absolutely agree that money doesn't is not everything, but absolutely money touches everything
it's
you want. So
something. It's something.
yeah, and if for anybody, at Salon Cadence, we always talk about how important it is that part of your success is to contribute and have a legacy and contribute to charities, or maybe even fund your own charity. But you can't do it, you know, if you don't have the allocation for that. So I'd love to go back to it and talk a little bit about, so what is the profit first? Let's talk about what is that crazy sentence and why profit first?
Yeah.
There's some craziness about that.
Yeah. So Profit First in a nutshell, it's a behavioral cash management system. It is not accounting. It is not meant to be your end all be all resource when it comes to communication with the government. It is really a mechanism for you to have clarity in your day-to-day decisions because you have real-time cash reporting via bank accounts. So it's a behavioral cash management system designed for you to leverage your natural wiring, right? One of the pieces of our natural wiring is when you think about the decision making process as an entrepreneur, where do you go to see what you have available to make a decision to purchase something?
Yeah.
Very seldom are we opening up our QuickBooks or our Zero accounts and saying, I have this much money, right? Very seldom are we going to a spreadsheet broken out that's completely budget breakdown and making a decision. We're opening our bank account. How much do I have in here to make this decision? And in a lot of scenarios, what happens is that bank account is just one big old bucket, right? It's full of everything.
One.
Yep, just one big old bucket. And it's full of everything, and it doesn't give us the picture of what's going on in our business. So, Profit First utilizes that whole concept of the decision making process using our bank accounts. It also takes into account how we are wired to engage with our resources. So, I don't know if any of you have read Profit First, or I'm sure you've heard Ronit share, but there's this lovely little concept called Parkinson's Law, right? So, it has nothing to do with the disease. It's actually this concept or it's a law. I don't know the science, how you
Yeah.
get to that
Yeah.
point, but it
Mr.
is,
Parkinson. Yeah.
yep, it's the truth that we use resources in relation to what we have available to us. So if you think about time, you have 2 hours to cut somebody's hair, you're going to take 2 hours to cut somebody's hair, right? You think about the resources. You have all the hairspray in the world, you're going to go crazy with hairspray. You have a little bit of hairspray, you're going to use a little bit of hairspray, right? So that applies to time, money, resources, engagements, right? We will fill up to the point that we have
Yeah.
available to us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when you think about this concept of Parkinson's law and you think about how we engage with our bank accounts, guess what?
We do the same
When
thing.
when we're making decisions, we see this big chunk of resources that we have available via cash, and it doesn't give us the whole picture, but at internal wiring we're subject to, it helps us make a decision, and typically it's not always clear and it causes more problems later on. So it's a behavioral cash management system that is driven to impact your cash flow and create clarity in the day-to-day financial circumstances of you and your business.
Yeah, and if even to go deeper and simplify that, the greatest thing about the system is if you look at how you manage or how our grandparents actually used to manage their money. I don't know, how old is everybody here on the show, but my grandmother used to have three envelopes, and she used to get the income that came from my grandfather and her, and she used to divide it into three envelopes. And so it would be envelope for house bills, envelope for food and groceries, and envelope for saving for rainy days. And then there was a little envelope for the grandchildren for just a little ticket, she used to call it, where she gave us a little money to go, buy some stuff. So and so that is actually a very simple system. I always like to bring it as an example because so many people just dig into creating budgets over budgets over budget over budget, and they absolutely complicating their life where there's no need for that. Really, I mean, I understand the whole concept, but when you allocate the right amount of what you need to run in your business, and you now see where it is, it's just so simple to follow it, and it's right there for you, and you're not going to get yourself into trouble. So, system like that has been around the world for a long time, but Mike's makes it so much more engaging, or so much more reasonable to use it within your banks. What is it that we do that makes it so easy to be consistent in that?
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, when it comes to consistency and utilizing a tool like this, it's just going back to, like you said, it's the grandmother's envelope system. It's how we're naturally engaging with money anyway. And now it's combined with kind of the same theory in which the 401k plan is so successful. Right. So not only are we creating envelopes for things, we're also strategically prioritizing things, right? So when you come into a space where you're just overwhelmed with what's going on in your business financially, when you are able to come in and break it out in a simplistic format, you first experience empowerment, right? Even
Yeah,
if you start with a simple savings account, which most businesses have open, and you just start moving money over at 1% of every dollar that you make or $100 every week, you start to see how capable you are,
yeah,
right? So the beauty of Profit First is it is super simple, and there are a lot of really impactful stepping stones that you can make along the way. But it's something that you can start right now, and it doesn't have to be this big drastic shift in your business. So
yeah.
it's how we're wired. I mean, really, at the end of the day, it's how we're wired, and you can start it with what you have now.
Yeah, and absolutely. I know it's a matter of habit. It's just changing something little and how you approach it. Now, when it comes to, I know for a fact that a lot of Fortune 500 using the same method. And so, as a matter of fact, Fortune 500 using that type of management. And so,
Mhm.
why small businesses don't really get to use that? Why? How do they get divert from using something so simple as this cash management system, because it will save and transform their life?
Uh-huh. Well, I think Well, everybody's got their own story. I'm sure we can share something that kind of wired us to make a bad decision. I mean, at the end of the day, the way that our structure is designed as a country, as a consumer, it's not realistic with who we are as humans. It's just not an effective method, right? Sales minus expenses equals profit. Again, it's against our natural wiring. We are wired for Parkinson's law, right? But beyond that, as you get into how we've been raised, right? And I mean, I look at my family. My grandparents used the envelope system. My mom used the envelope system, right? But as you start to grow and you engage with money independently, there's a lot of education that is a little different from that methodology, right? We watch it, we know it works, but Parkinson's law is real. And then you start hearing sales minus expenses equals profit. And that's just a continuation of communication. That axiom is just constantly being spewed at us. And then there's 900 other layers of education that says sales, 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 sales. Like there, if you look at the resources that are out there for making money, they outweigh the resources for keeping money drastically.
Absolutely. Especially we know for fact in this past 2 years, right? That was what saved us. I mean, I would say if you were on the method of profit first and you were well into it, you wouldn't have to worry about your business. Your business was doing really well,
Yeah.
really well.
And it all comes down to the fact that it's like it's not you, right? You are not the one that did it wrong. We were taught every dollar that we make, plow it back into the business so it can make more. It's the way that we have been taught is not really the way that we're wired to function. And so this is very countercultural, right? It is countercultural. Prioritize saving, strategically put parameters around how you want to spend money. But the reality is, this method is designed not to create restriction, right? So much of us don't want to start something like this because then there's commitment, right? All right, well, great. I like buying new shoes. I don't want to not be able to buy new shoes. I like being able to spend whatever I want on marketing. It just feels nice, right? I don't want to have to say I can't spend that on marketing, right? That's where we start to experience some frustration because it's change. It all comes down to getting started really is about change.
Yeah,
And so, since we've been functioning like this for so long, it takes a little soul searching, it takes action, but it takes showing up. And
yeah.
so, I mean,
Commitment.
really, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we have everything we need to do it. It's just a matter of doing it.
That's all it is. It's just like everything else. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, if you look at your goals and your desires, and you have a responsibility to your staff, you have a responsibility to grow your company. I mean, your responsibility as an entrepreneur is to grow your company, is to be part of a thriving society and not of a cash poor society. So your responsibility is first and foremost to you as an owner, to your company as a company owner. And unfortunately, we still have to pay Uncle Sam. He's been really good to us, so we have responsibility there. But what we really need to think about is how long are you going to wait for another year to go by when you're not profitable? And so, what's the best time to start? Everybody always asks me, Ronit, I am not profitable right now. Okay, I am in the minus, and basically we do get a lot of our members when they're in the woods, they're minus, they're in the forest woods,
Yeah.
and they ask me the question, so when do I start? How can I start if I don't have that money sitting in my account?
Yeah.
Okay, Erin,
It's as simple as you start with the
now.
next paycheck. Yep. Next to Parkinson's law is real, right? Regardless of how much money you bring in, if you remove even that 1%, that $100, if you are that much in the weeds that you are just feeling overwhelmed and suffocated, if you remove $10 from every deposit that is made into your business and you just put that aside because you are going to choose to break the chain, right? Break
Yeah,
that dang cycle. It's just choosing to break that cycle. You'll find you're not going to miss that $10. You're not going to miss that $100. what happens is you start to change how you engage with money. You start to engage a little differently as far as your mindset goes. A lot
Yeah,
of what happens in that first step is not about this crazy cash scenario. That first
absolutely.
step is establishing a habit, creating a little bit more authority in a space you didn't feel like you had it, but it's about mindset shift,
Hmm.
right? So even if you don't start out as Profit First is designed with the core bank accounts, we have profit, owners pay tax, OPEX, and of course our income account. Even if you just start out with that profit account and you start to do something that's in favor of your future, it trickles into how you spend. So you have your card, you're ready to make a decision, you go to swipe your card, and you're going to ask a different set of questions. And you start to see this cycle of engagement and the way that you function with your money really does shift. So the reality is, it's all hard, right? Good change still stinks. Okay. Let's just be frank about it, right? There's never going to be a perfect time because there's always going to be something, whether it's time, whether it's I have debt,
Yeah,
whether it's I need to hire a
absolutely.
new employee, right? But the
Yeah.
reality is, you can't do anything in your business unless you are profitable. You can't hire somebody new unless you're functioning below your means so that you can bring them in so they can create that income for you to get you into a place of balance. You can't get rid of debt if you're not spending, again, below your means, creating that space.
And I want to bring it into a reality here, like the language of what you're saying, which is absolutely there. Of course, it's a mindset, of when am I going to start? I'm afraid. It's like saying, I want to lose 20 pounds or I want to be healthier. And so when am I going to start? Well, when do you want to get healthier? When do you want to start looking better and feeling better? Is it now or is it tomorrow? And you got to make a decision at one point. Let's just do it. And as an entrepreneur, we are faced with many decisions. Now, the one thing that I want to bring into it is like, okay, well, here's the deal. The deal is that many of us, when we start this system, is like we're really coming from a place, well, we can barely make a paycheck and we can barely make anything. How can I start this? And I know you coming back and you saying, Ronit, it's really at $10. Just start it.
Yeah.
But it really is. The idea is, when you start working out at the gym, um, you can be either one of those people who go to the gym and just doesn't know what they're going to do. They just don't know what they're going to do. They're going to pump, for 5 minutes, maybe do the treadmill for 10 minutes, and then they're going to feel, okay, I did something, so I'm happy, I'm going. But if you go with intention of actually having results and have a plan, and when you have a plan, that's when magic things really happen. And what's nice about the Profit First is that it's all laid out for you. It's simple, stupid. It literally simple, stupid, because you just go and you follow the instruction and you see the incrementals of the the incrementals of the cash flow grow, and it goes from nothing and under to slowly, 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 slowly past that line.
We are way more capable than the things we give ourselves credit for.
That's so true. That's so true. And so we can do it. Yeah. Um, Erin, does the implementation of the profit first really serve all of that? All the nonsense that we hear of cosmetology and salon industry, and how we do address all of that. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, so I will say your industry is not for the faint of heart. I mean, you guys, it's a mad science. You all work to create the margins, to make sure your revenue is where it needs to be, to minimize those expenses, but also making sure that you're continuing this growth mode, right? It's a mad science, and we're not degrading any of that. The reality is, though, the beauty of something so intricate like the salon industry is that you can create something that really serves what you want to see happen in your salon, in your business, in your life, right? So there is no industry that is exempt from this at all. But what we
absolutely.
will do is we won't just take the book and start beating you over the head with the book, right? It's we'll come in and create a game plan and a strategy that really understands the intricacies of your industry, understands the nuances of you as a business owner and an individual, right? This isn't one size fits all, but what it is a roadmap, right?
Yeah,
There
exactly.
are
The plan.
bones, yes, there are bones to this that will allow for us to create a really strong foundation so then we can build muscle and create the ideal situation that you'd like to see happen. So, yeah, no, this is one of those things that absolutely is designed to be adaptable to the individual, but also put us into a place where we are constantly striving to be better. So if you're not familiar with Profit First, we use the bank accounts, right? Probably got that by now. We use bank accounts. We have a few core bank accounts that we utilize to create the clarity and separate that money from that big old bucket we were talking about. We have profit owners pay tax, operating expenses. But then we have a rhythm. We have a structure in place in which we're able to take and create the adaptations that we need to serve you, your business. So there's a lot to this that's beyond just the rhythm because we use percentage points. So
Yeah.
every industry has the same percentage points,
Right.
right? It's not industry specific at that point. It is designed to be focused on income and real revenue. Real revenue is how we discern what money we actually have to make decisions with, right? And that's it, right? We know what you're going to, we know you need your contractors. We know you need your equipment and materials and all those different things, inventory. We recognize that those are mission critical. We're not talking about those. Yes, we'll create the space that we need to have more money to make decisions with because we're being wise in those areas. But once we know what we have to function with, then we have some core percentage points that we target. And what that happens to do for us is, again, it's all mindset. So we will constantly take an evaluation where we sit and compare them to the most elite businesses in this revenue range.
Yeah.
And what that allows us to do, and again, this is all behavioral, right?
Right.
Parkinson's Law is designed here to serve, all right, listen, it might not be the biggest bucket in the world, but we can make it happen. We drive innovation in a space where we don't have everything we want, right? When we have a little bit of restriction, it pushes us outside into a creative zone that allows us to not only innovate in our own business, but it ultimately can create a new pathway for the whole industry, right?
Yeah.
And there are examples after examples of scenarios like that where I don't need to spend $100,000 on this particular piece of equipment or on this course, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's I create the pathway to that where I'm spending $100,000 and it's because I have cash, because I took and created an innovative way to get me there. So it allows for us to have a little bit of parameter, but it also allows for us to have the freedom to say yes when we have a decision to make, right? How freeing is it to know that you have to purchase inventory? You want to upgrade
Absolutely.
what you've got, right? You look in your inventory account, guess what?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Well,
looking good.
and the freedom to, and I love what you said, Erin. This is really brilliant and bringing it to home. Is that in the past, when you look at your bank, you're doing your online banking, and you look at your bank, you really don't know. You really don't know your true um, money. What's in there. So what happened is you literally, um, I lose you?
I don't know, something froze, but I'm here now. Frozen again.
There you go.
Man, technology today, it's just here to keep us humble.
It is getting us humbled. But I don't know where I lost you, and for 1 second I disappeared, and you disappeared as well. I'm like, where is Erin? Where did you go?
It's
But
magic, right?
it's the one thing that I always think about, that it's so simple, is when you're 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 able to see where your money is, and read it, so you can make decision. Because most of salon owners, or any business owners, they're always thinking within, um, I don't know how to make decision, because I really don't know how much money do I have, how much money I produce, and what will be the best way to get to success, is to having predictability. You
Mhm.
really know what you can project, and what's coming, and what's staying, and where is it's going. The minute you know, or from one end to another, what's the money is doing for you, or what's your cash is doing for you, you can make a very healthy decisions in your company. You know, like, I do want to buy my shoes because it's
Mhm.
important. You know, and if it's part of a threshold, then buy your shoes. But if it's not, then it's not. You know, and kind of like like you said, it's not about changing your habit of spending. It's more of the habit of thinking, because you know now, and it's not like you have to guess, and that way you can make a decision. And I just love that about, you know the Profit First. And Erin, do you use it at home?
I do. We do. And I will tell you, my favorite part about Profit First is, again, it's not a bunch of rules and regulations. And I say that tongue in cheek because I know some of you be like, well, it's not a bunch of rules and regulations. No, you have to follow it to feel the fruit. Okay. There is a mad science to it, just like your industry, that really is designed for you to experience the benefit of it. So, yes, you do want to follow the core concepts and continue through the structure. But the
Yes.
reality is, you're a human, right? We all have natural wirings, right? So in my home, I'm not going to lie to you. I love to buy, I mean, let me free in the interior section of Target. I mean, just I'm going to buy a rug. I'm going to buy a rug. I'm going to buy pillow. I need nothing. I need nothing. But that's how I'm wired. My husband loves his frogs and stuff. So he buys plants. Like, he has so many plants. We know how
I
we're
didn't know
wired.
that. I didn't know that
Yeah,
about your
yeah.
husband.
He has like dart frogs, like so many dart frogs. And I mean, we're all wired, right? All that to say, we're wired. You recognize that you're wired, and you create the freedom to experience that wiring. So in our home, I know what I have available to me to make a decision outside of the typical expenses,
Mhm.
because we have strategically set that aside. Your wiring might be vacation. It might be in your business. I mean, think about it in particular. Education, right? You like might love your conferences and you will do anything to go to those things, right?
Yes.
The beauty of something like Profit First is you can create the space in your finances to be able to afford those things in a way that won't jeopardize your well-being or your saving strategy, right?
Right.
So, yeah, we do implement at home. We have it broken out. I know I'm wired to buy gifts. Again, I don't like being stingy with
Yeah.
those things. I struggle so hard, and I'm going to throw my kids a birthday party. It's going to be stupid. I just can't help it. I know it. But it's not at the expenses or at the expense of our savings. It's not at the expense of our home. And that's the whole point of this, right? So much of this sounds like restriction, but really at the end of the day, it's freedom.
Yes.
Consciousness of what you have available to you to be able to make a decision, right? It allows for you to say yes in a lot of situations where you might want to say no.
Right.
Actually, we had, if you don't mind, I'll share an example.
Yeah.
So, one of the areas this space of freedom tends to smack entrepreneurs right in the face is when it comes to paying themselves, right? We
Yeah.
will pay everybody and their
Before
mother
we pay
before
our
we pay ourselves,
right.
right? And it's again, it's you take care of your people, you want them happy, and that is great. What we don't want is anything to be at the expense of the business owner. So the cool thing about way Profit First is structured is profit owners pay taxes, all designed to benefit the business owner. Our goal is to create balance in how we are functioning in our deliverable with high value, high productivity, high product positioning, but it's not at the expense of you as the business owner. So,
Right.
the example, we actually had a profit first professional. He had multiple entities. And here's the thing, they were all profitable, right? So
Yeah.
your first response might be, I don't need this. I've been fine. Yeah, he didn't. He was good. He was profitable. He didn't hurt. We made him do it anyway because welcome to Profit First Professionals. So he decided to do a experiment. In one of his companies, he opened just profit and tax, right? That's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
problem. In his middle business or in his second business, he opened just the core bank accounts: profit, owners pay tax, OPEX, and he had an income account. In his third business, he opened the core bank accounts and then he had no temptation accounts. And these no temptation accounts were, again, designed to maximize that temptation removal so that you aren't subconsciously reliant on that money. So he's so funny. We didn't even make it through a quarter. He didn't even make it through a quarter before he was like, why do I just have a profit and tax account open? This is ridiculous. So we opened up all his main accounts because he's like, what is this hurting? Nothing. So then he went to his core business and he continued to do his allocations. By the end of it, by the end of the quarter or so, he opened up his another non-temptation accounts. But it was so funny. His response to the whole experiment, his response to the whole implementation had nothing to do with profit, had nothing to do with his expenses. He came back and he said, for the first time in 20 years, I have never run a business that was not profitable. I've never run a business that didn't have cash. But for the first time in 20 years, I took a paycheck home and I
Yeah.
cashed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had, throughout the course of his business, he would take money out and he would let it sit in this
Yeah.
separate account. And in that separate account, it would sit there and sit there and sit there until he needed something in his home.
Yeah.
And it would
It,
sit there. He never paid himself. It would sit in the separate account until he needed something in his home. He was like, my wife cried because it
yeah.
was the
He was
first time
afraid.
she knew what to
He was
expect.
afraid. He was afraid to take that money
And
out.
that's exactly what it was. He had
Yeah.
always been taking money out, but he never paid himself.
Right.
They never had a budget in their home. It was like, okay, great, we have to pay for this thing. And that's where it's so much bigger than just money moving. It's creating peace and knowing that you have sustained your responsibilities. It's knowing that everything that you need for your people is provided for. It's knowing that you don't have to worry about the tax man knocking on your door because you can write a check and wash your hands of it, right?
And
You
you
don't
can do it, and you can do it because you know exactly what to do it. I mean, how many times, Erin, people go to the accountant at the end of the year and they say, "Oh my God, how much money?
Yep.
What am I going to be paying? Am I going to be paying? Am I going to get money back?" And typically the accountant would say, "Well, you know what? Yeah, you did really well this year, so you made extra $50,000. Now you have to pay the taxes for it, and boom, you don't have that money." And not to mention, you're always guessing what will it be. You have to wait for the accountant. But here, you don't have to. Here,
Hmm.
you're allocating money separately to it. You never wait. You're ahead of the game, and it's simple. It's just so super simple. And it takes the fear out of it. It takes the unknown out of it. Just like your story, we have so many stories like this at Salon Cadence. The sweetest, greatest story is one of our members, that said that did the same thing. I call them hoarders. They're hoarders of money and they never take it out. They put the
Hmm.
money and they never take it out. They never reinvest it. They never take it home. They never put it out because they just afraid that if something is going to happen, they will need to take that money and do that where you don't have to. You don't have to do it when you know exactly how to allocate it. So obviously she's doing incredible right now. Uh, Great story. She saved that money so much that now she just hired three new great team members and
Oh,
investing
awesome.
in their development and investing in a really great compensation. That's another thing. We have to think about compensation, how we want to compensate our people. And these days, nobody wants to work for nothing.
Hmm.
Nobody wants to work for a little money. Everybody is sick and tired of working their bums off without getting to their desires. Whereas an entrepreneur, you can take the system of the profit first and teach it to your staff and teach them how to multiply and how to reinvest in their development and in their career and in their life as well, you know. So it's just such a great system that impacts so many people and transforms so many people's life. You know, it's freedom.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, with that being said, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey of entrepreneurship, if you've been in it for 20 years or you've been in it for 5 minutes, right? The reality is you have so much more control over what is happening in your business, in your finances. And it's just a matter of taking it, right? That one small step in the right direction. I'm, I don't know if you, we're giggling. It's not, this is not Zoom. So I don't know where I am. Nope, that's my wrong finger. It's this one. Hold on, hold on.
Yeah, the right
Hold
and
on. That
left.
P right there. So S minus P equals E. That's abbreviated profit, or sales minus profit equals expenses. But in a lot of scenarios, that's actually peace, right? Sales minus peace equals expenses. It's okay for you to come in here and identify what your peace points are. They might be people, it might be your materials. What are your peace points, right? And sometimes they're you, sometimes they're driven by the business, right? I will encourage, no matter where you want to start with that profit account, 1% into that savings account. But if there's another aspect of your business that just overwhelms you to the point where you feel like you're gasping for air at night, don't be afraid to open it up and say, I'm going to open a payroll account, or I'm going to open a materials and subcontractors account, and I'm going to start there. Those piece points can really be driving factors in you proving to yourself, A, that you're capable, but B, that your business is capable. And that, in a lot of scenarios, drives us to push beyond where we are now and create that opening so we can truly run. Ronit, did I lose you?
No, 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 you didn't.
Okay, you're just hiding in the background.
No, I'm fixing the camera.
Oh,
Yes. So now there's a big question that I think the one thing that we have not touched yet is it possible for any type of business that has been, you know, maybe not, I don't know, 20 years into the business and they're not profitable. They've been suffering for 20 years, like 85%, like that, you know, top 15%. um is it possible for them to change? Is it possible for them to take that route, and make a difference even though they've been doing this for that long? Can they change the story, their money story?
oh my gosh. That's a great question. And the reality is, what's going to happen if you don't? Right? So much of our money decision scenario happens because we're making money decisions right here. Okay, today, tomorrow. What's your end goal? You've
Yeah,
been working for 20 years. How are you going to retire? Are you going to transition this? Do you want to sell this? If getting out of this business that you've been working in for 20 years is not facilitating the financial circumstances you want, do you really think it's a solid retirement plan? Right? So, not to knock on anybody in that situation, but what's the choice really
yeah,
at the end of the day? So, this is this is something that you can apply at any point in your life, in your journey. There's no such thing as too late. I was talking to somebody who implemented this in their business, like literally in their, like they were 57. Like, I'm going to retire at 63. They had like 4-year window,
yeah,
right? And they made their retirement happen just because they decided they were going to. And
yeah,
again, it's not just because we're going to take this magic pill. This is not what this is, right? I'm telling you, it's effort, right?
yeah,
This is not a magic pill scenario where magic just is going to reveal itself and everything's better. But what this is the first step in the right direction. And
yeah,
small steps in the right direction typically yield the greatest impact you'll experience.
yeah,
So this is us taking a step saying, no,
yeah,
I know better. I'm going to do better.
yeah,
And then you'll
yeah,
find you're going to take more of those steps and you have a different engagement with money, which ultimately in the long run can result in exactly what you want to see happen in your life.
Absolutely. So the first steps that we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to read the book, and by Mike Michalowicz. And my book is going to come out in January, so you guys can wait until then, or you can buy the book today at Amazon. And I always say, please do me a favor. Before you start reading the book, just go to chapter 8 and read chapter 8 first. I always say, read chapter 8 first and then go back to the first chapter. So that's number one, what we need to do. And then we need to make a decision that we're going to change or transform our money story and just commit to it and follow to the T. Some of you out there might think, oh, maybe I'm just going to open 1 or 2 or 3. Maybe I don't understand why 5 accounts. I don't understand why 7 accounts. I have 15 accounts. 15. So don't tell me 5 or 7. Just go do it, follow it. It's like everything else. If you are on a diet, follow the diet. Don't deviate from it. Just don't let your mind tell you all many kinds of noises. Just follow it up. So that's my action plan right now. What are yours, Erin?
Well, I would say in that, find an accountability partner. This
Yes.
journey of money is a lot easier to manage when you have a place there you can vent, you have a
Yeah.
sounding board. They can take you away from that nice little view that we have that happens to be right at the tip of our nose and talk you through some of those things, right? And then beyond just going in, doing this to a T, really recognize what you want to see happen in your business,
Mm-hmm.
right? Take the time to identify where you want to be in 20 years. It's a lot easier to start something like this where it's a simple little bank account. That's like an easy thing to do when you're comparing it to retiring, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
where do you want to be at the end of the day? Think about that and reverse engineer, and you'll find that this first step isn't so scary.
Absolutely.
It's very reasonable. So, if you have that savings account open right now and it just sits there staring at you, right? Start to create that system for saving.
Yeah.
Just start to create that system for saving. We're here at the end of a year, Q4, right? And I say this all the time. Actually gives me goosebumps and makes me want to cry. But you know all of the hell that so many of business owners have gone through in 2020, just trying to endure the gook, the unknown,
Right.
lack of staffing, all of it, right? What if in 2019 we just put 1% aside? Where would we be in 2020? Not even just from a financial standpoint, right? This is the peace and the
Wow.
mindset and be
Wow.
able to approach, right?
Yeah.
Think about it from that
Right.
perspective. Even if you go back and you look and see, right? How much money would you have had in that decision making process so it wasn't so frantic and overwhelming? Don't
Powerful.
worry about the year. Think about this quarter, right? What if I were to do that for this quarter? Where will I be in 2022 because I made this decision for the last couple months of this quarter? And
Yeah.
I think you can all do that.
Brilliant. Small steps, small miles, small shaving makes a big pile. So exactly. So I guess everybody, if there's anything that you can do and you can start first thing in the morning, is that 1%, and just stick to it. Just stick to it and see what happens. And get the book and let's start this. And you guys can reach to us at any time. You can text us to 833-654-2300 profit, and we'll take it from there. So if you have any question, please always feel free to reach us. We're very reachable here, and we would love to help you transform your money story and your profitability and get you some really um, emotional profit with all of that. I think that's, at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. So, Erin, you are magnificent. You're just amazing. I've watched you for the past 5 years, and you speak it, you eat it, you live it, and you walk it. And it's amazing. It's amazing to see you doing that. And I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you for coming because I know it's late, and it looks like you're at the office. You're not at home.
I am. but it's
Oh my
okay.
God. And Erin is about to have her fourth baby.
No, 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 third.
Third
Third.
baby. A third baby. And we are done.
No, it's good. It's all good. And I mean, and that's really what it's about. It's changing the cycle because this is going to have generational impact. And just a little thing like this, you'll be surprised what it does for your future, for the futures of those around you too. So
Mhm.
I adore you, Roni. I'm glad to be able to do this and wish you all
I
well and profitability in this quarter
Yes,
and
a
to
lot
come.
for everybody. Now there is one thing is we forgot to tell about Mike's new book that is made. I just bought I
Oh,
think
this
I bought
one?
yeah,
He's got like
that
900.
one. I
Get
think I
different.
bought 30 copies, guys. So for 30 copies, and yeah, I'm gonna do something really special with one of them. So um um it's like almost a must buy book. It's like the Bible of marketing, and combining, you know, the whole profit first theory into the marketing into the marketing book behind it. I think I listened to Mike saying one thing that really caught my eyes about um, um, how different you need to play the game right now. You know, we've heard it many times. How do you differentiate yourself from all the others? What do you do different to recruit the right people? How are you marketing to your new members? How are you marketing to your new clients? Um, and what is your messaging when it comes to that? So how different can you play the game to win the game? And I love that. I love all of his ideas in the book. I can't wait to read the whole thing.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. And honestly, I will say foundationally, all of the books that he's written, they build into this concept of profit potential. Profit first is the system to manage all the money that you are going to experience because we believe that for you and we know that is going to come as you make all these decisions in the favor of your future. But as you get right in it, there's a lot of profit potential opportunities out there and they come in a lot of different shades and colors. So Get Different is definitely one of those.
Oh, I love that. That is awesome. All right, guys. All right, Erin, we did this. This was such an amazing time with you to learn so much. I hope you guys all enjoyed Erin. I know I always do. I can never have enough of her and how brilliant you are. And I wish everybody a profitable life. Yeah.
Have a great night.
Have a great
Thank you
night.
all.
Hold on, Erin. Don't get off. I'm just going to shut us off and then we'll
You're
be
gonna
at
sing real quick your little jingle tune?
jingle, jingle, jingle.